The Autism Trap by Stacie Wyatt. I thought this post last week after someone from Caden's school called me. An autism trap is an area of town where there's a high risk of something fundamentally happening. A high risk of elopement, a high risk of someone running into traffic and almost getting hit by cars. A level 5 massive meltdown waiting to happen. No, it definitely will happen. A situation where I'm not physically or mentally equipped to deal with. Imagine trying to pull a 200-pound man back when we way close to the same from running into the street or out of the street, having a concerned person call 911 for a normal assault versus a autistic meltdown, hoping the officer is CERT trained, which means they are trained to deal with autistic meltdowns versus handcuffs. And then trying to manage both the meltdown and keeping Kaylin within a visual distance. Sometimes a concerned citizen offers to hold him or keep an eye on him while I deal with getting Brad back in the car or back near the bus stop. And knowing that the officers really can't do anything about the situation because the city would never admit my oldest to a psych ward because of his violence and aggression, plus his lack of potty trainingness. You know, everybody just works to calm him down, to put him, like I said, back on the bus or to wait on a ride, whether it's Uber or Lyft or somebody coming to pick us up like my mama or offering us a ride home. I try to avoid traps by using a Lyft or an Uber if I have the money to get to certain places. If I have to ride the bus, I go to Google Maps and try to map out the route and look for any potential dangers, such as restaurants, parks, anything that will increase the risk. If there is a risk, I have to decide whether or not this trip is worth it with my kids. Do I try to go solo? Do I get an Uber Lyft? Do I ask my mama and niece to help drive me to avoid a trap? My methods are not always the best. You know, they do fail at times. Yes. Last year, I have a lovely HP stream. It's kind of stupid and slow and dumb.
Thank you.
And it was acting up, and I don't like blogging and doing some things from my phone. I mean, I gotta, these screens they too small for me. Give me a computer screen, let me type, let me zoom in, do what I need to do. So, definitely don't want to stream any Netflix or anything from my phone unless I'm like on vacation or away from home. So I was looking online for a replacement computer, and I found a reasonable price one at Aaron's. I don't like renting things, but I could not afford to buy one direct. So I went to Aaron's. I mapped out the route. I did the forms online. All I gotta do is go pick it up. I mapped out the route. Let's go. Kids can go on the bus. It's one bus to get there, one bus back. Eventually, before I get, so we get out there and we go on errands. I get the computer, put it in my bag, go on out, go at the bus stop to head back home. What I didn't realize was there was a McDonald's not on the opposite side of the highway. Here go this McDonald's. Brad spotted the golden arches, and he's trying to run across the highway. And there's a bridge, so you got the 2-3 lanes on one side, you got the bridge in the middle, 2-3 lanes on the other side of high school, and you got this McDonald's. And he was trying to run. Luckily, someone came by and saw me struggling, trying to pull him back from running into the road, and they gave me a ride home. Eventually, my mama was like, no more running. I'm going to take you back to Aaron's. You're going back to their computer. I'll take you to Best Buy. I will pay for you one outright, and you just pay me back what you pay in Aaron's. And because that computer also broke during quarantine because my kids are bad, and now I'm on my next HP. HP. Oh, dun, 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 dun. You know, another incident was a few years ago after I moved to my first apartment. I've been living on my own with kids for 4 years. My church at the time did not offer bus service from my new side of town. So I asked in advance before I moved, and they said if you move there, we can't pick you up and drop you off. Before my mama gave us a ride, or I can walk because it was literally we literally lived behind the church, one of the subdivisions behind the church. So if you really wanted to go and my mama was at work or something, you grab the kids, grab the stroller, and just walk. Take about an hour, but you at least cut through the back of the church and don't have to deal with too many, McDonald's issues and things like that. Okay, so I'm back. Had a phone call. So we moved. The church did not offer bus service on the other side of the highway. And I started looking for a new church, but looking for a special needs church is difficult. You gotta have the right everything. Because even if the pastor is amazing, if you can't leave your kids, with the special needs program, then there's no point in going. You know, I had one church that literally I asked them did they have a special needs program. They said yes. Took them to church, went to the sermon, came back. The nice lady said she just walked them around the church building. I'm not feeling them knowing all the hidden corners and things of the church, because that's more things they can break. Then you're trying to find the right one. With my oldest about to age out, finding adult programs is more trickier. I know of two, one in Conroe and my current church. Um, Another church I visited a few times. It was nice, but what I was not really aware of, or it didn't click in my head, was that the special needs is not open every Sunday. The nursery is open every Sunday, but not the special needs program. So I decided to walk the church, enjoy I decided to walk the church, enjoy the sermon, come on, walk back home. Except for, we was able to walk to the church, and we got to the children's part, but we was met by special needs closed today. Brad went into meltdown mode, and not one single person came to my aid. Normally, Brad has a meltdown. Somebody shows up with it: security, child life, an administrator, somebody. Nobody showed up to my aid, so I had to literally get them calmed down by myself while the nursery looked on, and then we just walked back home. Ain't no point in trying to bring him into the sanctuary. It's just a waste of time. Then I tried to go back to my old church. Oh, that was another one. Trying to follow along with my notes. One of my favorite churches. They had a nice church. Had a nice special need. Nothing too spectacular. But the woman who was, I take notes in church. I don't take notes on paper. I take notes on the Kindle and keyboard or the laptop. Now it's the laptop, because every time I get a new Kindle, all my notes seem to go bye-bye. So I started doing a laptop and putting my notes on Google Drive versus Kindle Notepad or one of the other Kindle apps I was using. She was telling me we don't do that here, which is kind of funny because someone had posted about a movie on Amazon called Seven Deadly Words, and I watched part of it, need to finish it. My mother watched the whole thing, and I don't remember what the exact nuance of the sentence was the exact words in exact order. It was, we don't usually do that here. We don't usually do that here. That's it. But close enough. You know, everybody, I don't like, everybody don't write in Bibles. Everybody don't take notes in notepads. Every church is not for everybody. You can't just go to the church grandma go to all your life. It may not be the right church for you. I can go to my mama church. She's been there 2,000 years. But I'm not sure about bringing my kids because they don't have a special needs program. Now, last time they been in the sanctuary at my current church, my oldest acted good for a change, while my youngest needed extra assistance. So, so we tried to go back to my last church before this one, my last long-term church. And I'm like, okay, I had to plan this out. It's about an hour bus ride, about a 30-minute walk, I think. Give or take a few. I'm like, all we gotta do is cross the highway. Cross through the middle of the highway. Take your time, cross over half, then half. Let's just get there and back. Or maybe, I could call my mother after church to come pick us up. And I don't have to worry about walking back across the highway. So we get to the last bus stop before crossing over Veterans Memorial. Brad wanted McDonald's. Okay, no problem. I got a few bucks. Let's walk to McDonald's. Get you some food. That way they'll make the walk easier. We get close to McDonald's, and I see an issue. There's a sign on the door saying we are closed for Christmas. Had a massive meltdown, massive elopement risk. Kaylin was in a stroller. Thank you, Jesus. Veterans Memorial was either a 6 or 8-lane road, ran right out into the highway. Luckily, cars was not coming and stopped. I had to pull him back out the highway. He did almost get hit, but the car did stop. One of the cars that were turning. When we first ran out there, it was kind of empty. God was with him, though. The police was called. A church member saw us with the police trying to get him calmed down and gave us a ride to church and back. After that, my mama gave us a ride until we was no longer able to attend the church. And they referred me to my current church, which is, oh God, love them. Love them so much. The special needs staff is amazing. They have a program for children. They have a program for adults. As long as they will have them, I will be a part of them for life because I'm not looking for another church. I had an amazing feeling when I walked in like this. Yes, this is the church. Now, they can't go there by bus. It's perfect bus situation. There are no McDonald's. There is nothing. There's the bus station and the church is across the highway, across the bridge. There's a sidewalk that leads from the bus station to across from the church, and then you cross over and then go through the back of the church. No problem. But we have issues with that. Some of my kids, all of them, let me take that back, all of them, don't want to cross over. Or they'll cross over and then don't want to move any further. I've had a situation where a church member had to drive us from there's a senior citizen home across the street on the same side as the church, back side of the church. So you cross over, there's a senior citizen home, and then you walk across the street for the church. All we had was 2 crosses left. 2 crosses, and we on church property. And my oldest decided he didn't want to move anymore. And I tried to call the director of special needs, but for some reason, the number wouldn't go through. A church member saw us. He knew Mr. Daniel's number, so he called Mr. Daniel. And once I got in, he actually drove us. The church member drove us from the senior citizen home 2 feet to the church, and we got out. And Mr. Daniel met us outside and helped walk Mr. Cole quit inside the church. And I'm like, this child. So, traps can happen. Anyway, we also had another incident at the church where my mama used to drop us off in the parking lot, and then I just walk across and go in the church, and she go on about her merry way and go to her church. But one particular Sunday, he just got out her car and bolted from the car, through the parking lot, through the road to the church. God was with him then. He did not get hit. Thank you, Lord. But I was chasing behind him with a one-shoe Kaylin, and me and Kaylin's bags trying to chase behind him. He's on past the pedestrian crossing guards. So I came into church with Kaylin with one shoe on. A lovely lady who I am, church friends with now, gave me a business card for the church's food pantry and clothing store, because I guess she thought we were homeless or needed or didn't have money for shoes, because Kaylin had one shoe on. I have been, and it was a good food pantry and clothing store. But that's how I met her. She handed me the card as we were passing by. So, so now when we go to church, we are dropped off directly in front of the church. No parking lots are on the side where the handicap parking is. She just drops us off and goes. Another trap which I never, ever want to experience is the Aldine Westfield area, where schools, Kaylin's school, Brad's old school. The bus stop is on one side of the highway. The school's on the other side of the highway. So sometimes you get a good bus driver that will drop you off on the opposite side of the highway before going on to the airport. I love those bus drivers. But so there's a Burger King and a Wendy's and a Popeyes as soon as you cross over a gas station. So I'm afraid that if Brad gets off the bus, he's going to bolt across the highway and then trying to go to Burger King or McDonald's. Burger King or Wendy's or churches. When you get closer to his old school, you can see the Golden Arches and a Sonic. I think there's another gas station somewhere near there. Gas station, automobile shop, something. So that is one place. So when Brad had an appointment and I took him back to school, I would use an Uber or Lyft or my niece or my mama. And I would use that to drop him back off. I am not hopping the bus, because Kaylin's teacher called before and they wanted me to come get him. It's like, I cannot. They're like, well, you can get on the bus. I'm like, Brad is at home. I can literally not get on this bus for this small issue. You can call my niece and my mama and ask them if they can come pick him up instead of me, or come pick me up and I'll come. But I literally cannot come by bus to that side of town. If it was me by myself, no problem. I've been by myself plenty of times. Drop off medication, school events for both kids, current and former schools, no problem. But I cannot come by bus with Brad. I definitely have to think of a plan now that Brad's graduated on how to get to his school on days where my niece can't take me, or my mother can't take me, or I don't have Uber Lyft money, because especially with the new regulations, if they have a classroom party, am I allowed to bring Brad with me? Is Brad going to behave well in a school setting, especially since he ain't been in one in a while, and probably won't be in one in a while because he has graduated in class of 2020. So this is, or, leave them at home after the appointments. You ain't got to go back to school. You're already considered absent. But, normally I make Brad's appointments for 8 o'clock in the morning. And so he has plenty of time left to get back to school and things like that. Let's get him out my hair so I can do what I need to do. I got to clean, I got to declutter. See my desk, I got to declutter that, I got to declutter. I got to work on the closet. I got to work on this slowly at a time. Got rid of 3 boxes of books last week. Yay. that I know that I already read or know actually going to get around to reading. I have an addiction for books online. I'll start to do more ebooks versus physical books because stuff. I need to declutter this area. Underneath the desk is fine. It's just got my space heater and fitness equipment I need to use. But it's the stuff around the desk, the cords, the paperwork. That's not important because I keep important paperwork elsewhere. You know, that the medical information is kept elsewhere. Definitely not. I would never find it if it was. My divorce papers ended up in this, and I had to find them for a doctor's appointment. I thought they was in the closet in my folder, but nope, they was not at all. I found them organized in a box, so I'm slowly working one box by a box, going through each box and trying to get things organized so I can be able, if I ever have to move again, I don't have to take all this extra. I'm about to still take extra, but not too much extra, and I have transitioned from the Autism Trap to different conversations. So there are any Autism Traps in your areas that you avoid. Probably add a few visuals and maps to the video when I edit it. So that just, you know, in the life of a special needs parent, you know, mapping out areas of Houston with Google Maps and Uber and Lyft, trying to figure out the best way to get there when I have to bring my kids. Oh, here go another story. Final story. Gallery Furniture. They hold the Autism Prom for the past few years. My kids went last year and the year before, so 2019, 2018. The first year they went, the bus dropped us off somewhere, but it was a very long walk to get from the bus stop to Gallery Furniture. Brad had a fit, and it was, I don't remember how I got home. I don't know if I got home by Uber, Lyft, or my mama. But somehow we got home, and I'm like, I gotta rethink this path. The next year we went, the bus dropped us off at a different location. Still a 30-minute walk. Oh yeah, the first year had dogs. It cut from a business to a residential, back to business, and the residential side had dogs, and he was trying to run off from the dogs behind the fence, which is scary enough. I didn't think about dogs. I was just trying to get from point A to point B. So now I have to look out for residential districts in the middle of business districts before you get back to a business district. The next year, they let us off by Mambos. Good food. Lovely food. And now he wants to go to Mambos. I'm like, we don't have Mambos money. We came out here on the bus. We're going to get free barbecue from the furniture store. Then we're going to watch y'all not dance and not do anything else. So it took a lot of patience and understanding and cuss words to get us to Gallery Furniture. And then we walked in, they checked in, and then someone like, hey, Brad. I'm like, uh-oh. People know you. Turned out it was one of his old teachers. So Brad is well known all over town. So they got the Gallery Furniture. They ate their food. What saved us this time, because I took my photos. I took my photos. Did the photo booth, did our photos. And then I discovered they did not care for the dance floor at all. So I was walking around the furniture store because they had candy booths and other things they were giving away. So let me walk around the furniture store, see what else they are giving out and things to do. And then they discovered the playground, so they played on the playground until they were ready to go. And I discovered a closer bus stop, which I wish I discovered before finding the first bus stop. So I stopped at the closer bus stop to Gallery Furniture. It was still in the residential district, but nowhere near Mambos. So I caught the bus on back to the bus depot and on the way home. So yay. If they cancel it for this year, but if they do reschedule it this year or they have it next year, I am going Uber, Lyft all the way there, and all the way back, or I will give my niece gas money. I am not doing it. You know, bias. I am not. After a few times, you're out. It's like the zoo. We've been twice. There will not be a third time. He got us security both times. One time he didn't want to leave. There was a park at the back of the zoo. They also saved us the second time. Park at the back of the zoo. My mama said she was coming in 20 minutes. I decided to slow walk it. He wants to jump in the fountain. I'm like, I'm just trying to get him from point A to point B. Luckily, he came on out, and I said, I'm never going to the zoo again if I want to go to a park. There's Herman Park and Zoo that I heard has a sensory park now. They're not enclosed. I'm scared of parks that are not enclosed because that's an elopement risk. He has ran out of parks before, but they have a sensory park with splash pads that my kids are not going to play on because one kid doesn't like water on his head. So this is my wonderful YouTube / blog post about autism traps. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you and have a lovely day.